Hey readers, today we're going to talk about how to use context clues to help you figure out tricky words. So first of all, we're going to look at our national anthem. And I think you probably know this song. It starts off like this. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? And I'm not going to go on. But if you were in the classroom with me, you would have had to do that too. But you're not. So sing it if you feel like it. But really the point, you're probably going, what is the point of this? The point is that a lot of times in our reading, we come across words that we're not 100% sure of. And good readers do not just skip over words they don't know. You circle back and you try to figure out what the words mean. So some of these are highlighted in here because I find that they are kind of tricky. And if we were really interested, we would try to figure out, what does this mean? Dawn's early light. Do you know what dawn is? Well, I know what early is. Early is the morning. So I think dawn must be another word for morning. And then at the twilight's last gleaming, twilight is the end of the night. And first of all, they were talking about light, and now they're talking about gleaming. So I think gleaming also has something to do with light. So do you see how I use all the different words in the passage to figure out the ones that I'm not really sure about? Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. The next slide has two movies on it. This one is a really kind of a fun little cartoon that shows you how important context is. It's only a minute long. And this one is a Khan Academy video that teaches you about context clues. And we have a special way of thinking about context clues. It's called ideas. And on the next slide, we'll talk about that. So today I want to teach you that when readers are flying past parts of books and they don't know what's happening, they have to use their grit, but they also have to hold on and just say, okay, I got to figure this out. And I know some ways that I can do that. So some of the ways that you can do that are using something called inference. Can you say inference? I heard you. Inference. Inference is using the clues before or after or in a sentence where the word is. And that's what we kind of did with the national anthem. And I think you probably do that all the time. You just didn't know it was called inference. The next way that you could figure out a word using the context is looking up the definition. So if you don't know what a word is and you can't figure it out by inference, look it up. That's fine. The next way that you could find out what a word means is an example. So use the example of the word given after it's used. So usually in a dictionary, there is a definition, and then it's usually used in a sentence, and that often can help you figure out what it means in your sentence. An antonym is the opposite, and a synonym is a word that has similar meaning. So in all of these cases, we're using other words to help us figure out a tricky word. Now, I'm going to show you how I do that in our Year of the Dog. So in chapter 15, they're just learning about the science experiment. And Melody and I, so here it says, Melody and I taped our posters on the wall. Our largest poster said, "Feed your plant soda for optimal growth." Optimal. I'm not sure I know what that means. I'm going to see if I can figure it out. I had drawn a picture of a pea plant and a bottle of ginger ale next to it. We hung that one right in the middle. So optimal. Let me see if I can see. Oh, so here it says, we put our plants on the table in a carton of milk and a bottle of soda and a cup of orange juice and a watering can. The plants were very small and scrawny. They didn't look anything like my drawings. So if they're scrawny, that means not very big. And I think that must be an antonym. That's the opposite of what we want. So optimal must be really good really good growth. So feed your plant soda for optimal growth must mean that you need to feed your plant soda in order for it to grow really well. Because later on they say that the ones that were watered in other ways were scrawny. You see how I did that? All right, so now it's your turn to try to figure out some tricky words in your book. So today what I'd like for you to do when you're reading is get a notepad and just keep track of the words that you're not sure about and try to figure them out. What we could do is at the very beginning of your reader's notebook, there's a list of words and there's a space for you to put new words. If you figure out any tricky words, you should go ahead and put your tricky word in that space so that you can remember it the next time you come across it. All right. Have a good time reading today. Remember to fill in your reading log.